TOA community, what's up everybody? Robert Linkle with trainingtheolderadult.com. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to Wednesdays with Robert, episode number 6. I think last time I said 4, it was actually 5. Anyway, episode number 6. What we're going to talk about today is I was listening to the Huberman Lab. Not sure if you're all fans of Huberman. I love him. I love Peter Attia. I love Lane Norton. I love all these guys, Andy Galpin. I love all these guys that give great content. They have these long, what do they call it? Long form content creation sessions where they'll either sit down with each other or just do single, one-on-ones like I do and just explain and share a bunch of great content. So in this particular episode, science-supported tools to accelerate your fitness goals. This is episode, it's a 6-part series that he did with Dr. Andy Galpin. And you can see this, it's from July 3rd on the Huberman Lab channel, okay? So there's Huberman Lab. Let me see if I can get that to focus for you a little bit better. Huberman Lab, well, it's not gonna work. I should have done a screen grab of it. But you can go on to his channel, okay? It looks like that. There you go, little Hubie. He's awesome. Give it a read from July 3rd. You'll see it there. Science supporting tools to accelerate your fitness goals. So in the first or second episode, I'm listening, and they're talking about strength training protocols, okay? And they have this form as a download that you can go on there, and they kind of give you like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like a 7-day training circuit. And I went, this is cool, and it's very well thought out. It's got great stuff on here. It's pretty deep, and I'm not a huge fan of, number one, programming anything based off of percentages, because with older population, that's specific for older pops, right? If I'm working with athletes, it's a different ballgame. Or with even an athletic body that is capable of performing higher level performance lifts. What I mean by that is, you need to train for like a long period of time, okay? Minimum 12 weeks, if not more, in my opinion, until you do true maximal power output or maximal strength load lifts. Meaning, if you're gonna try to maximize how much you can snatch, how much you can clean, how much you can front squat, back squat, deadlift, row, pull down, press overhead, and carry, whatever it's going to be, whatever you're going to try to maximize an effort. And now that could be a 1 rep max, it could be a 3 rep max, it could be a 10 rep max. The point being is you are truly going to go to a maximal effort, okay? Not only at any age is it dangerous to do this with people who aren't conditioned, meaning that at least a 2-week adaptation phase, which is crazy in my mind, that's a suggested format. Like, you can train for 2 weeks, then hop on these machines. Even though they're machines, give me your max effort. Like rep 10, it's like, no, I can barely make it number 10. And you slam the machine down. You think that's safe after 2 weeks, after like 6 workouts? We're gonna do that and not expect something to blow up on their body? I think you need like 3 months of training before you really do something like that. That's with a young human being, okay? A body that's not all beat up and banged up and has years of degeneration or deconditionedness to it. So what are we going to do with a 50, 60, 70-year-old who's like, I'm ready to get in good shape, boss? And the reason I'm going into this whole tangent is a lot of the lifts that are listed on there, well, we're going to use between 75 and 80%. What does that mean? 75 to 80% of their 1 rep maximum, their projected 1 rep maximum? The answer is yes, okay? But how do we get that? Well, we have to give a maximal effort test at some point, right? To see what that is, so then we can base all the percentages. And I'm just not a fan of doing that, okay? Unless you're a hammer thrower, a shot putter, a sprinter, a hockey player, a basketball, some sport where it's like preseason, in-season, postseason, off-season, championship time, non-championship time, recover, high peak, no peak, on, off, in camp, out of camp, like something where your body is getting these undulation training components and you have months, years, and eventually decades of training under your belt, then you could probably do something like this, okay? So Long story made longer is 5 minutes into this. I wanted to give you my version of this, okay, that you can use if you're like, hey, I'm 50 and I'm motivated to go exercise. What do I do every day? Okay. Now, I'm sure all of you 50-year-olds hit your go gadget goggles and you can read all this. I'm going to zoom in just a second. Don't worry. Okay. And I am going to put this as a PDF download so you can print this out. Okay. You are welcome to. I've got to get my disclaimer on there and all my other good stuff. So this will be, for in-house use at the moment. All right. So let's take a look at this. This is a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday novice. Notice the top right corner because we are going to do an intermediate and advanced one coming up next. So make sure you have the right one. Okay, and now this guy, our goal with this is to have an active recovery day on Sunday, an active recovery day on Friday. Okay, active recovery is going to consist of a 10 to 15 minute mobility menu. And this could be, and I give you examples on the right over there, 15 minutes of bird dogs and bridges and open books and hinges and holds and band rows and just some light mobility work that just kind of helps loosen your body up. I love doing mobilities daily. If I'm training hard or if I'm not, if I'm doing a ruck or if I'm not, I like to do mobilities. I have 2 different mobility routines, one where I'm on the floor, one where I'm not. So the days that I'm going to ruck, I do all my mobilities up because I'm already up, I'm training up, what I'm doing today is up. But any of my other days where I lift, I'm on the floor, okay? So, 10 to 15 minutes there, and then on Sunday, you're trying to get 20 to 30 minutes of something in. This could be gardening, golf, tennis, pickleball, hiking, biking, anything but weightlifting, okay? Basically anything that's not resistance training, we can do on these active recovery days. And so you do your 10 to 15 minutes of mobility work and then go work in the garden for 45 minutes, of which you're going to be doing proper pickups and carries and some rows of pulling things towards you and some putbacks and that kind of stuff. Go play with the dog, clean up the shed, wash your car, be outside, get sun, just be active on active recovery days. Thus the name, okay? Active recovery days are a fantastic way to say, like, at the end of the day, hey, I didn't train, but I was active. I got my steps in. It's always nice to, hey, I'm going to get at minimum like 7,500 steps. I'd prefer more like, 10,000. That's good. Maybe 12,500, like something around in there where you're getting a minimum 5,000, bare minimum 5,000 steps a day. Now, if you're just like bathroom and back, kitchen and back, just moseying around the house, you should get 5,000 steps, right? So aim higher, of course, but that's our active recovery days, okay? All right, from there, we're gonna dive into our strength training days. Now, these are highlighted in blue. We have 2 of them, Monday and Wednesday. Now, you can, okay, and I'm just gonna give you some options here. I like this, but some people like to have a recovery day in between it. So they'll bump things down, like they'll bump Wednesday, Thursday down and move a recovery day to Wednesday. The problem with that is you now have 2 rucks back to back, which I'm not a fan of doing, okay? So I like this format. I think you stick with it. That's why I put it on here. So on our pure strength days, we're looking at 15 minutes of mobility work and then 20 to 30 minutes of resistance training, okay? This would be a full body circuit style training that could include or feature machines, pulleys, selectorized cable machines, etc., or free weights, okay? And you should do something for your chest, your back, your shoulders, your lats, your thighs, and your calves. Now, most gyms that you go to, most places you go in, they're gonna have a set of machines, and it's machine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's gonna be chest press, seated row, pull down, leg press, military press, hamstring curl, calf pump, something like that, okay? Quad, hamstring curl, quad extension, something like that. And those are fine, totally fine. I'm not anti-machine. I just think as soon as you can get away from the machines, do that. So if you want to do that for a month or 2, go for it. But as soon as you can get into free weights, or at least just get to pulleys, right? If you can at least get to some stuff that you need to overcome and manipulate, and you get to stand and not be seated, stuck in this little track where you can only go forward and back and you don't have to balance anything, like that's fine for rehabilitation purposes and or establishing a base layer level of strength and understanding of what it's like to activate muscle. That's about it. Beyond that, we're on to cables, we're on to pulleys, we're on to bands, we're on to free weights. We're getting into other stuff. Free weights are ideal because they're going to mimic real life. The majority of things that we do, if not all the things that we do, they are not tracked and railed and pivoted on something that's fixed, and then you just push or pull or press. You gotta manage it in space. You gotta pick it up and balance it and carry it and etc. Okay, so kind of keep that in mind. Why we're looking to do these strength style lifts like this. You can see the example for day 2. 15 minutes mobilities, windmills, bridges, child pose, whatever else you want to do. And then 2 to 3 sets of 9 to 15 repetitions, somewhere around in there, with a load of a 4 to 6 RPE. RPE stands for rate of perceived exertion. Now, if you basically just think of a scale of 1 to 10, 5 being a weight that's right in the middle, that's kind of what you're shooting for, okay? I know it's simple. I know you're not gonna listen to him, dude, you have created an amazing way to rate load. It's not groundbreaking. The real RPE is like 9 to 24 or something like some crazy ass scale. So it's just like, let's just do 1 to 10. Everybody knows that. 10 is as hard as it could possibly be. We're nowhere near ready for that, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of easy. So let's just find something in the middle. Let's just get moving where you can feel some load. That's all we need, okay? It doesn't have to be fancy. So RPE scale, 4 to 6, somewhere in there, with a standard tempo of 2 to 1. What does that mean? 2 to 1 means if I'm on a chest press machine, okay, the concentric movement action, 1, second going out, the eccentric movement action, bringing it down, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1. That's kind of a standard action, standard tempo. For all lifts, it's just a steady state. You can even do 2 by 2. 1 1002, 1 1002, 1 1002. What you could do that. That's fine. You're going to be safe. It's going to be controlled. Nothing where you're not like over speed and you're going for power training. Nothing like that. Just a steady pace. Why is it listed like that? Long story short, when muscles are being stretched, whichever ones you're targeting. Okay, so my chest, my triceps. When they're being stretched, that's called an eccentric stretch. And then when they're being shortened, it's called a concentric stretch. The way you list those numbers, it's the stretch number first, always, every time. And it's not always the same. So I just did bench press. So I bring my weight out. That's eccentric and that's concentric. But if I do a lat pull down, this is concentric and then it's eccentric. They're backwards, right? So it's not always the same order. So if you're going to write it down, somebody said, we've got to have a way of teaching this. The way we'll always do it is whatever muscles are being stretched first, those are eccentric, we'll list that first. So anytime you're thinking like, what am I working? Okay, I'm training my chest. My chest is going to stretch apart on the way down. That's the 2. And then it's going to get shorter and come together. That's the 1. Okay, so you'll see, and it's important to know that because I'm going to give you other tempos here in the future. Okay, all right. So there's our lifting, our tempos. With that day, I'm going to do a chest press machine, a seated row, an overhead press, a seated pull down, some sit to stands, and some calf pumps. I'm going to train in my entire body just with those. Are we a little leg light? Sure, but we're going to be rucking on the other days, so I'm not too worried about crushing the legs. Now we're going to do that same exact lifting routine on Wednesday. Again, I'm not looking for massive variety. I just want you getting in the weight room and doing this for a month or 2, maybe 3 at the most, and then we can bump you up to something more specific, okay? So very, very general guidelines. Same thing Monday and Wednesday. And now when you look at the rucks, we have 2 of the same rucks. Day 3 and day 5 are the same. We're going to do 10 minutes of standing mobilities, okay? And then we're going to go on up to a 20-minute ruck. The load on your body should be medium to light. We'll talk about that in a moment. And you can wear a vest or a rucksack, a backpack, and basically just go for a walk. That's kind of the way you want to think about it. We're not setting records. We're not trying to, break things and down to the point where you're like, oh, my splits were amazing and blah, blah, blah. We're not there. Okay, so an example, I've got 10 pounds in tow of non-perishable load. That means actual 10 pounds of weight in my bag, not my water and my snacks that I brought with me. None of that counts, okay? So actual 10 pounds of load. Minimal to no hills. I don't want you seeking hills right now. We're not worried about that. Be safe, wear good shoes, enjoy yourself. Just go out for 20 minutes. 10 minutes out, 10 minutes back. We're going to do that twice. We're going to do it on Tuesday and we're going to do it on Thursday. Rucking should be fun. It should be safe. It should be easy. General rule of thumb. If you are less than 100 pounds, if you're less than 150 pounds, you should be taking anywhere between 5 and 10 pounds on load of your body, total load, okay? And again, this is non-perishable load. So you're 135 pounds, start with 5, build up to 10, eventually someday we'll get up to 15, somewhere around in there, that's fine. If you're over 150 pounds, 15 to 20, maybe 25 pounds every once in a while, but that's about as heavy as we need to go. A lot of people think rucking means I'm gonna put hundreds or 60s, 70s, 80 pounds of weight on my body and it's gonna break bones. That is not the case. We're trying to get a little extra load a whole bunch of times. So if I get 10 pounds on my body and I take 10 steps, that's an extra 100 pounds that I put through my body that I don't normally do on a regular basis. So that's gonna increase my bone density, it's gonna increase my cardiac output, it's gonna improve my posture, it's gonna increase my stamina, it's gonna improve my postural strength, I might have said that already. It's gonna improve your sarcopenic, anti-sarcopenic component of just improving your overall muscularity of having to resist and maintain a posture with load while you're going out doing this, okay? You build strength that improves your gait, that improves that posture where you're not all slouchy, you're having to resist and maintain and hold tall, but you gotta do it right, okay? You gotta do it in a good way. So rucking is a pretty vital component to this for us, especially in the beginning, because if you walked into the gym, you can go for a ruck. If you can walk, you can ruck. We're just gonna put a little weight on your body and go for it. So you get your active recovery day on Friday, day 6, and then when you come back on Saturday, we're gonna do a longer ruck, okay? We're gonna increase it, instead of 20 minutes, we're gonna kick you up to like 30 to 45 minutes. Same load, I don't wanna go any heavier. And I just put on there too, you're going a little further, maybe you're gonna be out there a little longer, be safe, look both ways, don't talk to strangers, etc. 10 pounds in tow, again, non-perishable. Make sure you bring a little water now. You're out over 20 minutes, you gotta bring some water. Minimal, no hills, be safe, 20 minutes out, 20 minutes back. And that's it. I mean, that's a pretty simple look at a week that we would wanna go through and consider, hey, we've got, a good base. I'm being active every single day. I've got people that are coming in here, they haven't been active in decades, if not more, and they're like, I'm ready to start a program, where do we go? Well, let's start by coming to see me twice a week. There's your blue days. Well, what do I do on the days where I don't see you? And well, here you go. I got a plan for you. I need you to go out on a walk 3 days. Check, I can do that. I need you to be active on the other 2. I can do that too. Do you have any guidelines for me? Sure do. I mean, it's super simple. Just be active every day, but I wanted to give you some guidelines. So this is for anybody and everybody that's at a novice level out there. When you feel like, hey, I think I'm ready to get something, download this, print it out. It's all yours. I hope you enjoy it. And then one of these days, 2 to 3 months in, and you're like, I think I'm ready for something a little bit more, we'll jump into this novice/advanced one, and we'll start to kick some ass from there. Advancing up to the intermediate to advanced style of workouts are basically just a couple of levels up. So let's suggest that you've done your novice workout program for 8 to 12 weeks, somewhere in there. I think that's appropriate. That's a good progression. When we get into this one now, we're gonna kind of level up on, and it's a very consistent schedule, little changes. Notice we have just one active recovery day, okay? So that's Sunday. Sunday active recovery, same idea, 10 to 15 minute mobilities, 30 to 45 minutes now of activity, and we're gonna garden, golf, tennis, pickleball, hiking, biking, anything that doesn't include lifting weights, okay? And we still talk about going out playing in the yard, doing all that good stuff, okay? So active recovery. And again, you can still go for walks, like you can go and do stuff. I just don't want you carrying load, okay? So now lifting, instead of 2 days a week, is gonna go to 3 days. And I want you to pay attention there to day 2, day 4, day 6. Day 2 and day 4 are pure lifting days. And then day 6 is a HIRT style, HIRT. There's a lot of people out there that think HIIT training is HIRT training, okay? So they go, oh, I do high intensity interval training, HIIT training. High intensity interval training, HIIT, HIIT. And but they have weights in their hands. They're doing a squat and a press and a hinge and a high pull, and they're doing bench press and chin ups, and they're doing all this. You're like, yeah, that's with load. So what you're actually doing is high intensity resistance training, HIRT, okay? Not HIIT. The original design of HIIT training was with body weight, calisthenic based body weight, or very light load. So push-ups, sit-ups, if you're gonna do them, I'm not a sit-up fan. Plank variations, you're doing squat thrust, chin-ups, pull-ups, push-ups, I think I said that, lunges, box jumps, rope climb, bear crawls, pushing a sled, though there's load, right? You are not doing like repetitive, necessarily like full range of motion reps. You're just in one constant action pushing a sled, pulling the rope slams, inertia waves, medicine ball tosses, actions that don't include, a large amount of weight. Let's call it, I don't know, 20 pounds or less, okay? Something like that, if we kind of had to put a protocol on it. Anything over 20, 25 pounds, it's a little bit more high intensity resistance training based, which is still great, especially for older populations, okay? Especially for older pops. So keeping that in mind, even when we do our pure strength days, notice we went away from the circuit, okay? So look at day 2 for me. Strength training, pure, 15 minutes mobility, 45 minutes of resistance training. And in that, we're gonna do a full body, chest, back, thighs, complex kind of compound movement patterns. We're gonna do those first. Second, after that, still full body focus, we're gonna do arms, shoulders, calves, and we're gonna do auxiliary or your more simplistic movement patterns later in the workouts, okay? Second. So for an example for this workout, we had 15 minutes of mobilities, and then we're gonna do 3 to 4 sets of 9 to 15 reps with a load RPE, rate of perceived exertion, of 5 to 8. It's quite a bit higher than that other one. So think if the other one was 40 to 60%, now we're at 50 to 80%. So we're definitely leveling up, okay? The standard tempo for this particular day is a 2 to 1, just like we talked about last time. And for example, in this workout, we could do snatches or cleans. You could do deadlifts and bench press, step-ups, curls, and extensions. Now, would I do snatches and cleans in the same day? No, I just wanted to give you, some variety, okay? Because we're doing a more dynamic, kind of standard lifting day. Now, when we get to day 4, the second pure strength, everything in that first guideline is the same. Where you see something different is in the example on the right is we're gonna add now rack pulls, seated rows, overhead presses, pull downs, raises, and slams. And notice the tempo above it is a 4 to 1 eccentric, 4 to 1. So that means your deadlift, maybe we're working glutes and thighs on a deadlift in your back, okay? You're bringing that weight up quick, up in 1, and then you're coming down 4, 3, 2, 1, touch, go, 4, 3, really, really slow, right? Or if it's a rack pull like I had put on there, that's a hinge, an RDL, and where you unload the weight at the bottom. So you're hinging, unload the weight, up, shrug, pull. It's basically like a controlled clean pull, okay, or snatch pull if you want to do a snatch grip, right? So that's kind of the focus in this as we're looking at these. Is I want to have some difference in variety. I'm going to change my tempos a little bit, change my lifts a little bit, but for the most part, free weight based, 45 minutes, 3 to 4 sets of each one, somewhere between 9 and 15. Now, if you're going like, well, what is it, 3 or 4? Do I do 9 or do I 15? That's where a specific coach comes in. I'm not trying to plug my services as like you need to come and buy a program from me, but everybody's different. I'm just giving you some guidelines, some starting guidelines, okay? So it gets you close. Now we go to Friday, which is your hurt day, and now 15 minutes mobility, 45 minutes of resistance training at a higher intensity, high intensity resistance training, interval-based lifting with load. So complex / compound movements, that means, big joints, hips, knees, shoulders, elbows, big joint movements, squat, press, hinge and high pull, cleans, snatches, slams, etc. We'll also incorporate into this some core work, agility, stability, power, coordination. You can do some outside, general, specific, pure resistance training stuff. We can make this more dynamic. And just for an example, I put on here a lifting interval time of 40 seconds on. So let's say I'm doing, as I wrote on there, snatches, okay? 40 seconds, I could do snatches, 40 seconds. Then I'll take 20 seconds to rest, and then I'll go to my next lift. Let's say instead of the cleans, I go to the ropes, and now I'm on the ropes, and I'm go on the ropes, right? And I do this as fast as I can, and then I'll recover. Then I could do loaded carries. I'll pick up 2 heavy weights, and I'll carry them back and forth, 40 seconds, and then I'll set them down. And then I could grab something heavy and slam it, and I'll do that 40 seconds, 20 seconds off. See how I talked about earlier where HIIT training was basically everything without weight, and then hurt training was basically HIIT training but with load in your hands? That's a really good combination example of the two. We had the ropes, kind of lighter. We still had the sled work. We had some throws, but we also had really heavy carries. We also had really heavy cleans. We also had really heavy snatches, right? So you can put in some lifts that are still going to have load, but the whole idea is it's fast. We're going, like we're doing clean, return, clean, return, clean, return, right? When you get to the ropes, it's slam, 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 slam. Like you're going to it. 40 seconds as hard as you can, 20 seconds, you're like, you got to get these undulations of intensity, thus high intensity resistance training, the HI of high intensity. Because if you're just like, oh, this is awesome, right? 40 seconds, whistle, go to the next station. There's nothing high or intense about that, right? You got to go, man, you got to go. So the load will come down quite a bit, and that's where we put in the RPE. The RPE comes down. See, between 4 and 6, we're back to the beginner level load, right? But look at my tempo. It's fast, 1 to 1, really, really fast, okay? We're going for it. All right, so there are our lifts. And then with the rucks, we just have different themes, same days, but different themes. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Tuesday, it's a short ruck, okay? 60 to 90 minutes. You're going to carry a heavier load, and I want you to seek hills. Go a little slower, right? And don't worry about pushing a really hard pace. Just go slow and get it done, knowing that you're carrying some heavier load. Maybe with undulating hills, as you get better at this, going out for 90 minutes or so, you'll get somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000 vertical climb, right? So you definitely want to seek some mountains if you can. Now, when you come back on Thursday, we're going to lighten the load a little bit, but we're also going to increase the pace. So you're going to go a little lighter, but we're going to go a little faster and a little farther. And now, in the first workout, I did a 40-pound ruck, okay? Now, on this one, I'm going to do a 30, so I've cut the weight by 10. I'll have a little bit of hills, but not as much. I'm looking at 750 to 1,250 total vertical, but I'm going for 90 minutes, so a little further than the 75 I initially did. And then when we get to Saturday, Saturday's a light ruck, but a long distance, okay? So you're looking at 20 to 30 pounds, somewhere around in there. No hills / minimal hills, 250 to 750 vertical climb, but I'm out there for 2 hours, 120 minutes, and I am going, and I put on there, be safe, look both ways, don't talk to strangers. Like, it's go time. We're not sitting around socializing, hanging out. Hey, Doris, how are the kids? Who cares? Talk to Doris on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Right now, it's go time. I'm teasing. Like, right now, you got to go. You got to go. You got to push that pace, okay? Because it's lighter. And as the week goes on, and again, you could do 25, 20, 15. It could be 50, 40, 30. If you're carrying that heavy load, you better be a big person, okay? I'm 240 pounds, and I will carry 45 pounds, and after, 2 miles, my shoulders are starting to hurt. And I'm strong, and I'm built for this, and I've been doing it for 5 years. I mean, it's like, this is my sport, and I build my body to do this, and it still is exhausting for me with 45 pounds on me, okay? So keep that in mind. If you're 150, you shouldn't be over 20, 25 pounds at the most, okay? Another good rule of thumb is just go with like 10% of your body weight. That's a good training weight all the time, 10%. So if you're 150 pounds, 15 pounds is your weight. If I'm 240 pounds, I throw a 25-pound plate in there and off I go. My constant, consistent weight, my ruck always has a 30-pound plate in it. So I'm at 15% of my body weight, whatever that comes out to, 12 and a half, whatever it is. That plate never comes out. It's always in there. That is my low end / medium. And then if I want to do big days, I'll put another 10 or 2 10s, something like that in there, and I'll go, okay? This can be, again, this is a guideline, a suggestion, something to kind of get you going. I'd love it if you print both of these out, okay? If you want to do it the new school way, let me do this right now for you. Go ahead and get a screen grab, okay? Do your Command Shift 3 or Command Shift 4 and go ahead and drag that and just grab a screen grab of it. That's the novice one, okay? And then here is your intermediate advanced. I'll let you get a screen grab of that. And then if you want to do it old school, I will have a download for you in the notes there where you can get on there. It might redirect you back to the site so I can post it on there and you can download it. But I want you to be able to get a copy of this, print it out, start to follow. If you have questions, comments, anything, hit me up down below. If not, please continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia, and I will see you in the next one. And please Subscribe, ring that bell. Don't miss any of the content we put out. Share, send this out to your friends. Help us grow the channel. We much appreciate you all. Much love, everybody. Take care. Talk to you later. Peace.